Okay, you have the Carolina Panthers record prediction. So to me, they do have some talent on their team. Like on offense, they have DJ Moore, Christian McCaffrey always gets injured, and I think they have a very young defense with a lot of talent. And like Brian Burns, Jeremy Chin, Dante Jackson. But to me, two things hold this team back: being their offensive line, which I think will be a huge problem, and Matt Rule, who's I'm not sure how he got another year. So if your first game versus the Browns are definitely a talented team with great running back duo, but Deshaun Watson won't be here, so they'll most likely be starting Brissett or Josh Rosen. And the Panthers, they're fully healthy with a healthy Christian McCaffrey and Baker. If Baker Mayfield starts, I think he's going to be looking for revenge. So first game, I'm going to give it to the Panthers. Week 2 versus the Giants. Giants aren't very good either. Their Giants defensive line might cause problems for Baker Mayfield, so I think this one will be a lower scoring game. Christian McCaffrey, I think, will still be healthy at this point, and I see them getting a win, and their defense shutting down the Giants' offense. Then you have a game versus the Saints. To me, the Saints' defense is probably one of the best, and the Panthers' offense will struggle. And defensively, I think the Panthers will hold their own, but this one's going to be a defensive game, and I trust trust Saints defense more and the Saints offense more. So I'm gonna take the Saints. Then you have a game versus the Cardinals. Cardinals definitely do have some talent, but also some weak holes, weak spots, and I think this one's going to be a very close game. And Panthers have home field advantage, and the Cardinals defense definitely isn't the best. So I see a good game for Baker and Panthers offense. But to me, I think Kyler's running game and scrambling ability will cause problems for that Panthers defense and linebackers, who's not the strongest. I'm going to take the Cardinals. Then you have a game versus the 49ers. 49ers, another very talented team, and Panthers have another big home field advantage. But similar to the Cardinals, Trey Lance, even though he's technically a second year, very inexperienced, I think his scrambling ability will cause problems for the Panthers defense. Um, offensively, the San Francisco offensively, the Panthers I think will struggle against a very good 49ers pass rush and secondary, so I'll take the 49ers. Then you have week 6 versus the Rams. Definitely a trap game for the Rams. But the Rams to me have a very good defensive line, which will cause problems for that Panthers offensive line. Overall, the Rams are just a more talented team with a huge home field advantage. Then you have a game versus the Buccaneers. Buccaneers Super Bowl contenders right now as a divisional rival, and Tom Brady and company with the very talented team usually do well against the Panthers, and I see that continuing. So I'm gonna take them. Then you have Week 8 versus the Falcons, so divisional game always hard to predict. Talent-wise, Panthers have more, and the Falcons have one of the worst defenses and not a great offense, but it's a divisional game, hard to tell. And I think Panthers and Falcons are usually close, so I'm gonna take the Falcons first. You have Week 9 versus the Bengals. Bengals' offensive weapons and offense in general is just going to be too much for the Panthers to handle. And I think the Bengals also have a very good pass rush. Not the greatest pass rush, but an above average one, which I think will cause problems. And to me, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon is just going to be too much for the Panthers to stop. And Cincinnati have home field advantage. Might be cold up there. I'm going to take the Bengals. Then you have a game versus the Falcons. Falcons, like I said, not very talented and definitely hard to predict, being a divisional game. But this one's being Thursday, a Thursday night game, and Panthers have home field advantage. I don't see the Falcons sweeping them, so I'm gonna take the Panthers. Then you have a game against the Ravens. Ravens are coming off a bye week, and like I said, Lamar Jackson I think is going to cause problems for that Panthers defense, and Mark Andrews as well. And the Ravens defense have a very solid overall defense, which will cause problems for the Panthers offense. I'm going to take them. Then you have a game versus the Broncos. I think this one's going to be close. Panthers have home field advantage. I think this game's going to be very, very close. But talent-wise, Broncos are a lot more talented. They do have Russell Wilson and a good wide receiver Sutton and Judy and a good run game, which might be too much for the defense to handle. And the Broncos also have a very solid defense as well, which I think will struggle. The Panthers offense will struggle, especially if McCaffrey is hurt by now. And Broncos are more talented by Panthers, but I think this one's going to be a very close game. But I'm going to still take the Broncos. And you have a game against the Seahawks. Panthers are coming off a bye against the Seahawks. Coming off a bye, and that's good because it's a long road to Seattle. To me, this one's going to be very close. And Seahawks definitely are not talented right now. They're stuck with Drew Lock, but they do have good weapons in DK, and they do have a maybe good running game, Penny and Kenneth Walker, and their defense definitely isn't the best. The Panthers, I think their offense will do better if Christian McCaffrey is not hurt. And to me, Seahawks have home field advantage. It's probably going to be rainy in Seattle, like it always is. And to me, I think the Seattle's going to win this because of their run game. Then you have a game against the Steelers. To me, the Steelers' defense is just going to be too much for the Panthers' offense. Steelers have a very solid defense, and offensively, Steelers don't bring much. So I think this was definitely a defensive game. But I trust Mike Tomlin more than Matt Rule, so I'm going to take the Steelers. Then you have a game versus the Lions. Panthers have home field advantage. I think that home field advantage is going to win it for them. Lions definitely have, I think, equal talent-wise. But home field advantage, like I said, I'm going to take the Panthers. And this one be Saturday night, so slightly shorter week. Then you have a game versus the Buccaneers. Like I said, Buccaneers always do well against the Panthers. And Buccaneers are probably looking for number 1 seed. I'm going to take the Bucks. And like I said, the Saints, also another team that usually do well against the Panthers. Saints are probably looking for a wild card at this point. So I'm going to take the Saints. So Indiana have the Panthers going 4-13, 1-5 in the division, 3-6 at home, and 1-7 away.